Hey, welcome to the Black Knight Nation podcast. I'm your host, Sal Internado. The Black Knight Nation podcast is brought to you by Higher Echelon. Higher Echelon is a company run by Joe Ross, who's a former Army fullback, former Army assistant coach, former Army officer, and a guest on the Black Knight Nation podcast. If you check out our YouTube channel, you'll find Joe Ross's podcast. You'll also find a podcast that we had on with Brian Riley, Army hockey coach, also former Army fullback Sam McCoy. And today, we'll have on Army men's lacrosse coach Joe Alberici joining us right before his home opener tomorrow against Coach, thanks so much for hopping on with us.
Sal, thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a while. I think the last time I talked to you was a couple of years back. Might have been even a pandemic year, and now this year is for you guys. You just started off the season against UMass last weekend. Want to ask you about your team, what you think. I know one game in, it might be hard to tell, but what do you think you might have this year? Because I know I was doing some research on your senior class from last year and all the experience you had and all the goals they scored and all the games they played. But there are some guys coming back from that team that had good seasons last year. So I was wondering, what's your early thoughts on this team?
Yeah, Sal, you're right on. We lost a lot from last year. It was a tremendous senior class. 15 guys played and impacted on game day Saturdays, including some of our all-time best. So this fall, starting back in the fall, there was a lot of openings around positions and have been very excited by this group and continue to be, even though we came up short on Saturday. Very excited about the continued improvement our guys have shown, the new faces and the way they've stepped forward, and as you alluded to earlier, some of the returning guys, and referencing, I'm certain Jake Morin, who was a Patriot League all Patriot League midfielder last year, and has been a captain for us this season, and done a terrific job. A couple goals in the very first game. Reese Burek, Paul Johnson are a couple of the returning guys on the offensive end that we're going to be relying on heavily. They had very good years last year as sophomores, and they just got to continue to expand their role. And then when you look on the defensive end, AJ Pilot, who was all league as a freshman last year, is the cornerstone defensively. But a lot of new names and faces down there, but talented players.
Coach, Seth Mendelson here.
Hey, Seth, how you doing?
Good. New goalie, right? Talk about that.
Yeah, Knox Dent is a senior from Colorado, and he has played the backup role. Wyatt Schupler was a 3-year starter. Knox was his backup. We gained a lot of confidence in Knox throughout his time here. In particular, last year, Seth, as the backup, he's getting a lot of reps with the first team guys, and he was terrific. And if Wyatt was to go down or be injured, we would have had full confidence to insert Knox there. So going into this fall, it was a very strong goalie competition. Knox early on began to show himself as that guy, and in the opener against UMass played very well. Had 9 saves. There was a part of the second quarter where potentially the game could have gotten away from us, and Knox came up with 3 or 4 really big saves. So great student of the game, Seth, guy that is always looking to get better, good athlete out of the cage, throws a good outlet pass, and again, a good for his, even though he's a senior, is his very first game, inexperienced player. He showed well there, and I know big things are ahead for him this season.
Okay, thank you. So,
Coach, my math might be off on this, but did you start 3 freshmen against UMass? It seemed like you had some young guys in there, Evan Plunkett, Gunnar Fellows, and John Sullivan in there. I mean, talk about those guys for their first game and how they perform.
Right, so we've got a really good freshman class in there. So there's a lot of talent within that group, but the three that you mentioned are guys that are ready to, have been ready to help us right away. And I'll start with Evan Plunkett, really dynamic, athletic midfielder, two-way guy, two-handed player, great change of direction. He is going to be one of the best that's played here under my time. He is a terrific player, and a great student of the game, a hell of a football player down in Atlanta last year, 7A football conference player of the year as a 5'10", 180-pound player, defensive guy, just a playmaker, and he takes it to the lacrosse field. Really, really impressed with him. Incredible athletic IQ on top of being a very good athlete. So, so Evan was running in the first line. Johnny Sullivan is, interestingly enough, Sal, AJ Pilot became the first close defenseman to start for Army in my time here as a freshman. And that was, over a course of 17 years, he was the only guy to do that. And now Johnny's doing it his second year in a row for us, and very deserving of it. Excellent athlete, a good sense of the game, and very good skills. And then Gunnar Fellows has been a guy that has really impressed us. I'm not sure that we knew what we were getting when we got him. We were certainly excited, but has a really great understanding of the game, and showed well throughout the fall. Was kind of in that third, fourth spot. We had an injury, Gunnar has stepped up, and again, as he gets more comfortable in that spot, I think he's going to play really well off of Reese and Paul Johnson.
Coach, in the UMass game, I think you guys ran into a hot goalie, right? I think Army outshot UMass by quite a bit. Shots on goal too. I was pretty impressed with the offensive performance of Army. Of course, not scoring the goals hurt us and hurt the team. What do you think about that? Was it a hot goalie that you ran into there?
Yeah, Seth, we've got a lot to build off of with that. Our program's well beyond any sort of moral victories or, attaboys, that kind of stuff. I mean, we're going in and we want to win them all. But I do believe that there's a lot of winning moments in that game. And one of them was the pressure that we did put on the goal. 19 saves in our sport. That is typically goalies are averaging 12 to 14, maybe. Now, to that very talented player, the UMass goalie, I think we can do better, Seth, to upgrade the quality of shots that we were taking, getting more into the middle of the field, being a little more confrontational as Dodgers. A little bit, I believe, was maybe first game jitters, because there were so many new faces and new guys playing that we were playing maybe not to make a mistake in some situations. But with all that being said, 46 shots, 19 saves by a goalie. I think it speaks well for us offensively. And the other part of it is back to our face-off game. Will Coletti, who was amongst the nation's best last year, was the number one face-off guy in the country amongst freshmen last year, and maybe top 14 overall in percentage. He was a dominant player, and he was able to repeatedly get the ball back for us. So that was a big part of it. We cleared the ball with outstanding efficiency, and we rode the ball back. So as they were trying to get the ball out of their end, our attackmen and our riding game was able to create some repossessions for us. So all of that helped us, have that many shots, but there's still a lot of room to become more efficient. And 19 saves, those are tough games to win when the goalie has 19 saves.
Yeah,
so hopefully it doesn't happen again.
Well, Army has the usual tough schedule. Of course, you don't have Syracuse this year, which is my alma mater, but you do replace it with probably a better team in Cornell. And I think Cornell was on there last year, but no Syracuse, but Cornell. You have Rutgers, of course, this week. I think rated number 8 at this point. And then the Patriot League, in my opinion, is a pretty good conference that doesn't get enough coverage and enough respect out there. Loyola Maryland, rather. Of course, Bucknell is good. Lehigh is good. Navy is always a tough game. Boston University is always probably the best team in the conference, along with Army. Talk about going into the Rutgers game now. What does the future hold? What do you see?
Yeah, so tough opener, and we have over the last 12 years played UMass in that opener, and they have continually been amongst the nation's best. And now we move into Rutgers, who is even more talented, very deserving of their top 10 ranking. I will say, Seth, I don't mean to jump on your alma mater, but that wasn't our decision to no longer play Syracuse. We went up there every year, and we were extremely disappointed that they wanted to end that relationship with us. Much to our
is that a one-time thing, or is that permanent for now?
For right now, with the new coaching staff, they haven't talked about playing us again. So I was unable to do anything with the 23 schedule, but we have a deal in place with North Carolina for 24 and 25. So we have in this program have really prided ourselves on playing the very best, and not just playing them. I think that there's a strong track record of winning against the very best, and our goal, and even with all the changeover, our goal still remains to be a national champion. And the way you do it is by playing a really strong out of conference schedule, and Rutgers clearly fits that bill. Cornell, those are two teams that were in the Final Four last year. I'm not sure there's any other programs at West Point that can talk that way about playing two Final Four teams from the previous year, amongst others. And then you're right on with the Patriot League. The Loyola last weekend just beat the number 1 team in the country in Maryland, or number 2, doesn't matter. I guess whatever poll it was, beat them by 5. And so Loyola has kind of been the standard bearer. That's been a team that we faced in the Patriot League championship on I think 3 different occasions. Navy has a terrific program and a great tradition. Lehigh, another team that we've battled in the conference championship in recent years. And then Boston is a program that is only, let's see, now it's probably 9 years in existence, but has a lot going for it. And we're our conference champion last year. They beat us in the conference championship. So just terrific teams that get after each other, but do very well on the national stage also. And in my time here, I believe 8 of the 9 teams in the Patriot League have at one time or another been ranked in the top 20 in the country. So it's a game in and game out is a challenge, and one that our guys gladly accept.
What do you think this year? I know crystal ball time, you may not want to go there, but it's a tough schedule. Again, in my opinion, the Patriot League is probably one of the top 5 conferences in the country, maybe number 4 even. You have a young team. What do you think?
Yeah, well, we better grow up quick. I do believe that there's still there's a lot of talent in this, and I think there's a really strong culture. That's of greater importance. So previous senior classes have continued to leave the program in a better place, and our guys have inherited it, and that's exactly what they want to do this year is leave it in a better place off the field, but on the field also. So the Patriot League with Boston returned, I think it's maybe, I might have seen a stat, 98% of all of their offense from last year's championship team. You clearly got to install them as a favorite. Loyola has never been too far from the top in any year, and some of the early returns on them are right there, as have Navy and Lehigh been impressive in the early season. So, and then you throw in a Bucknell, who's really a difficult team to play against. So, and I'm missing too. Every game is going to be a lot for our guys. We've got to come ready to play. But I would just tell you again, Seth, that our expectations are to be the champions and to be the last team standing. And we know we've got some obstacles to overcome to do that, but that's our mindset.
Okay, if we could talk about the Patriot League a little bit, and also the NCAA tournament. I think it's still at 18 teams. Is that correct?
Yeah, so 18 teams. Yes.
Okay, and I think the number of teams playing Division I lacrosse on the men's end is growing. We're probably over 60 now. I would think, right?
75, Seth.
75. Okay, that's a dramatic increase from a couple of years ago.
Yes, yeah. So it has. It's on the youth level. It is the fastest growing sport in the country, and it has exploded in Division III, where you're a little bit more admissions driven. Division II has tripled in size in probably the last 10 years. Division I has been very steadily growing, not at the rate the other two are, for probably Title IX reasons and things of that nature, financial budgeting, that part. But it is up to 75 teams now. And you're right, 18 teams in the tournament. Really difficult tournament to get into. There are 10 leagues, and now you have so you have 10 league champions, and that only makes 8 at-large bids. And in that, the ACC is only a 5-team conference, so they don't qualify for an at-large bid. And the ACC has traditionally been one of the very best programs. So there's been times where all 5 of those ACC teams have gone. So now you're looking at maybe 3 at-large bids. And we've been on the wrong end of a couple of them, the last team out in a couple situations. Back in 2017, we had 2 top 4 wins. We beat Syracuse at Syracuse, who was number 2. We beat Notre Dame here, who was number 4 in the country, and we went 12-4 and still got left out of the tournament. So I mean, it just that's an unusual situation. 2021 was another one where we're finishing 13th in the country and not even making it into our NCAA tournament. So it really runs through the Patriot League. You got to guarantee your spot. You got to win that championship, and it's no small task. And this year will be as difficult as it's ever been.
Okay, I remember a few years back, the Patriot League
Coach,
had 3 teams. I'm sorry, Sal. Go ahead. Sal, go ahead.
Coach, I just want to ask you a little bit, and you are recruiting guys probably pretty early, and they're committing a little earlier. Just talk about how your philosophy with recruiting and how you guys do it.
Yeah, well, I'm not sure that it varies all that much from who we're competing against. We're out there looking for the very best players. That's where the identification process starts. Is who are the most talented guys on the field and guys that would fit well. So that's myself and the staff are out on the road throughout the summertime and watching, sitting on sidelines and in club games and as much high school as you can watch. But that's how we spend our summers, identifying talent. And then what we're doing here, and where I feel like we've got a great advantage, is we're selling West Point. And I think this is, in my opinion, is the greatest academic institution in the world. I don't believe that there's another place anywhere in the country that you can go to where that institution will do more for you than this one. And so that's our stance. That's where we take it. Once we find those kids who are able to play in our program and able to handle the rigors of our institution academically, and then as you get to know them and do your homework around their coaches and teachers, and you find if they're the right fit character wise for us too. So it's been good for us. You're correct. We do we're in a different cycle. So, all of our 2023s are committed, and a large portion of our 2024 are verbally committed to us. So we're not completely done with that class, and much of what we're doing recruiting wise centers around the 2025 class. So bringing them up for prospect days, and we're not able to have any direct contact with them, but the identification process is in full bloom for us right now with the 2025s.
Coach, one more question about the NCAA tournament. Any talk of increasing the number of teams?
Yeah, Seth. I mean, or isn't anybody in the lacrosse world that would like to see less? We're banging on the door for more. I believe there's some NCAA. This is on the greater side to increase it to about 25% of every in every sport. 25% make the NCAA tournament. One of the benefits that lacrosse has had over the years, and unlike many other tournaments, is it makes money. So the tournament makes money. So you don't have to go back too far where the national championship games being played in front of 25, 30, upwards of 45,000. If you went back to 2008 or 9, TV is kind of pulled from that a little bit, but it's a revenue source. So it's given us a platform to say, hey, we deserve more teams in. So there's a push for it. Expanding greatly, unlikely, but if we were able to get another couple teams in, maybe make it a 20 team, that would be something that would be welcome with open arms from the lacrosse community.
Okay, thank you. So going into the Rutgers game,
it's a big week.
I said one more question. Going into the Rutgers game, what do you expect from Rutgers?
Listen, they're very deserving of their top 8 national ranking. Extremely talented. They have done a great job on their coaching through their coaching staff of blending some of the talent that they've recruited from freshmen, and they've got some great players there. And then they have probably about 10 or so grad transfers. And it sounds like that's a great thing, and wonderful to have, and just plug and play. Like you bring your goalie in from a top 10 program, and now he's your goalie for the year. And it's a nice luxury to have, but you've got to have a strong culture in order to bring those type of players in from the outside, have them play significant roles, and still and be successful. And Brian Breck and his staff has done a great job with that. Very talented group, athletic on the defensive end. Seth, they want to push the ball and transition. And I think that where this game will be different from the one we just played, and we've done our best throughout the work week here to simulate this. But as soon as that ball comes across the midline, they keep the pressure on you. So they're looking for transitional opportunities as they're subbing their defensive personnel out. They continue to pressure off the dodge with their attackmen, and then once they get into the 6-on-6 game, the pressure continues. So that is where Rutgers is, I don't want to say unique, but is clearly in the upper echelon in terms of their ability to keep the pressure on you offensively. Defensively, again, I think it's all 4 of their starters are returners from last year, or at least had played some roles for them. So it's good talent there. They face off well. Their goalie is a transfer from Harvard, who's had a great career there. Big guy in the cage. So some of the issues that last week's goalie gave us are going to be presented just in terms of size this week, and we've just got to do a better job than we did last week with the goaltending. So excellent program, well coached, and it's going to be a great test for us, and our guys are fired up for it.
You mentioned Harvard, and we talked about the ACC and how all the teams are usually very good. The Ivy League, I think 6 out of the 7 teams that play, I guess Columbia doesn't play, but 6 out of the 7 teams were ranked last week. That's another impressive conference.
Yeah. And listen, a lot of what happens around lacrosse, the very best high school athletes in other sports will leverage their college to get to the pros, and so they're just leveraging their abilities to get to a college that will get them to pro ball. In our sport, the pro game is continuing to grow. It would probably look like the 50s for football, or maybe the 40s for football. Like, you still have a side job, that type of thing, and you still go. So the very, very best athletes in our sport leverage to get into the very best schools. So that creates, a lifetime of opportunities for them. So when you look at lacrosse across the board, Ivy League, very, very, nationally competitive every year in and year out. The Dukes of the world, Virginia, North Carolina, all outstanding. Michigan's got an up and coming program, and quite honestly, it's a big reason why West Point has got the tremendous 106-year tradition that we do, as we've been able to compete for some of the very best players in the country because of what the institution will afford a young man who graduates from here, and how it continues to pay them back. For having a West Point degree pays you back for a lifetime, and so that's how we're able to compete for some of the very best talent in the recruiting.
Thank you very much. Well, good luck this year. Good luck against Rutgers, and good luck the rest of the way.
Seth, so much appreciated to have me with you today, and great meeting you. And again, impressive collection that you got in the back there. Thanks for telling me a little bit about it off air.
Yeah, it's a big weekend for Army sports, right, Coach? You're hosting Rutgers at noon at Mikey Stadium. The hockey team has a home game tonight and tomorrow against Mercyhurst. The basketball team is playing Lafayette at 6:00 at Crystal, and Army Navy wrestling on Sunday. So a huge weekend. You guys kick off kind of the Saturday at West Point, and all the best to you against Rutgers. And we really appreciate you having you on and talking all things Army lacrosse.
Yeah, thank you, Sal. Listen, I do want to, if you mind, if I close with this. I don't know if you guys are on time. A couple things I want to give a shout out to our women's lacrosse program, who last night had the biggest win in their program history in terms of against a ranked team. They beat Jacksonville, number 19 in the country. Michelle Tumalo is doing a wonderful job with the program, as Kristen Skyra had done before. And then just around these other programs that are playing, I am a huge fan of each and every one of those programs, mostly through their coaches. You had mentioned you had Brian Riley on here, my neighbor, and a close friend, does a phenomenal job year in and year out with that program. And Jimmy Allen, I was texting with him. I think that basketball team has got a chance to. They're young, and they have played everybody at the high. Everybody in that league very tough, and I think great things are happening for them come March. And then Kevin Ward has been has really brought Army wrestling to another place in recent years too. So like for a clean sweep, like to be 4-0 this Saturday, Sunday. But you can't be 4-0 if you're not 1-0 first. So that we're going to do our best to get things rolling on Saturday afternoon in Mikey Stadium.
Well, good luck to you, and I'll see you up there.
Thanks so much again, Coach. Great having you on.
Yeah, awesome, Sal. Thank you. Thanks, Seth. Appreciate you both.
It was great having you on, Coach. Look forward to having you on again.
Absolutely, would love
that.
that.
Thank you. Bye-bye.